to Unhindered Soul and the Magic Within. I'm your host, Angela Glegkowski, and today we'll be speaking with Allie Anderson. She has a podcast, Embrace the Face. She's a nurse, a Reiki master, and a psychic medium. So, Allie, I just wanted to, I'm so happy to have you on. Thank you so much for coming
Thank
on.
you for having me. Thank you. Such an honor.
I love speaking about, we all have magic within, but I just love having people on to kind of speak about how they discovered their own magic, right? And
Oh,
definitely on this path of, doing the Reiki and psychic mediumship, I do feel like kind of connect with that part of us and recognize it. So I just would love to speak to you about that and kind of just if you'd like to give us a background of just starting from the beginning and like where, how you were and how this progressed to where you are now. So I guess let's start with, you know, probably the first moment. Can you remember the first moment that you recognized the spark, that magic within you? And I would say it would be your connection with spirit or your higher self.
okay. So thank you. Thank you for having me on. To put my story, my crazy story into a few seconds. Okay. So I I I remember being a kid and being little, like 7, 8 years old, and my cousin and I were playing basketball out back and in the backyard on a cement like basketball court. I don't know, my parents' driveway. And all of a sudden, both my cousin and I saw the ground like woo, like going like this, and we ran in the house and we told my dad and my uncle, and they were like, okay, sure, whatever. And I remember since then, like after that, I always had these like experiences. I just always felt a connection to the stars, to the sky, to I always felt there was interdimensional beings. I always believed that there was more to than what was going on, and it actually caused me to like have a lot of fear and anxiety. I never really felt comfortable in my own body as a kid. I would hear things, I would see spirit, I would always have dreams about like people that would die, and I'd tell my parents and they'd be like, oh, that's so lovely. Or if I'd say things like, oh, I'm hearing this, or I see this, or I feel like this is going to happen, like a lot of times people would be like, no, like we're not going to talk about that. um so I feel like just as I got older, and like many children do, we lose, I guess, that sight of who we are. But as a teenager, I always was doing double takes because I was seeing things, I was hearing things, and I would like look and nobody would be there, or somebody would be like, I didn't say anything. And I remember we moved when I was in 8th grade to a house, and I was greeted by a young spirit, a young girl. And she would like literally come into my bed, and it would freak me out. I'd wake up, my eyes would open, and like she'd be lying there under the sheets with me, and it would freak me out. So even the house we live in now, whenever we move into a house, I am greeted by the spirit. So, and I was able to describe the woman who lives here like to a T, to the neighbors and everything. And so that's just kind of a background, I guess, on my gifts. Now, did I actually know what they were and how to utilize them? No, not at all. Until actually 2020, I would say. Um, I quit drinking, and I quit drinking 1121. I quit drinking alcohol, and that kind of opens up my whole world. In 2018, I started meditating, and I'd say 2020, I really started like realizing that there was more to me than just being Allie the nurse. And then I think during COVID, and I had been teaching Tai Chi in my job role as a nurse. I was a trauma injury prevention coordinator, and I was doing a lot of holistic things, and I joined the Holistic Nursing Council, and I started learning more about energy. in this time. And I was encouraged by other holistic nurses they were like, oh, I feel like you'd be really good with Reiki. And so post pandemic, when I finally quit drinking and got out of my own way, I found a local healing shop and I started joining their classes. They were classes on just automatic writing and meditation and psychic development. And then fast forward a few months later, I signed up and was attuned in Reiki level 1. And then I started helping out like with the holistic council. We were giving Reiki to the nurses and the hospital staff, and I really just loved it. And I remember like one nurse that because that was their break. They would give staff breaks, and you had the option for self-care. So a lot of hospital staff and like this one nurse in particular was like, you have a gift. Like I heard about you, but like you have a gift. Like you need so always self-doubting, always being like, okay, like this is weird. A lot of religious subconscious programming still at play, telling me like this was the devil. This was not something that you could talk about. This was not something that you could be open about. But I kept my soul kept going back to it, no matter how much I was fighting it. And eventually I became a Reiki master after like a year and a half, 2 years. I became Reiki master. I started getting paid for doing readings. There were more energy exchanges going on. I started building a clientele. And it kind of now fast forward 2025, I have a blog and a podcast, and my business Embrace the Face LLC is like an umbrella of all these things. I do sacred ceremonies, I do psychic readings, Reiki healings. I have 3-month containers. I have 90-minute deep dives. I'm hosting a Jamaican soul revival retreat in Ocho Rios, Jamaica next January.
Oh,
For like all quantum healing. Um, and everything in my life, I feel so. I also, just side note, I was diagnosed with a autonomic neuropathy, which is a neurodegenerative disease. I went through many, many years of trying to find out what was going on, whether it was autoimmune. I had been given so many different diagnoses, chronic, some progressive. Like I was facing like all of these crazy comorbidities and on all these medications and pharmaceuticals and going for all these, so much so like spending so much time and money that we had to file personal bankruptcy due to like medical debt. And when I finally balanced Western and Eastern and started honoring more holistic, specifically Ayurveda, I strive to live an Ayurvedic lifestyle. For those who don't know, that is an ancient 5,000-year-old, really preventative and slowed down, simplified way of living and healing for mind, body, spirit. Utilizing the chakra system, utilizing simple and ancient herbs and nutrition, utilizing yoga and breath work and movement and connection, and just really striving to embody what I put out there for others. And we were talking about this, I think, before recording, saying like who we become, who we are at our core soul blueprint level starts to shine through us, right? And it just becomes who we are, what we're doing for the highest good of humanity. And that's kind of just the way I see it. I've literally tried to quit doing this like a bajillion times to just be a stay-at-home mom as I could be if I wanted to. I'm very blessed in that regard. But I can't. And it's something bigger than and I think you understand that as well when it's
oh yeah.
something like from within. It's very soul led, and I think a lot of people don't understand that, and there is a lot of like judgment around that. But I just keep going with the flow and keep. I feel that it is God's path for me, to just trust and to keep going.
I love it. I love it. I have to say
Thank
that out of all that you said, the thing that stands out for me when I hear that and when I see you is the joy of the connection. And I can understand that because it's like nothing else when you feel that connection and you understand it and you embody it, like you said, you kind of live your life the way you feel is right, and then you pass it on to others through what you've learned and know. And that's really the whole sum of this whole thing, because you've done so much, is joy. I do see
Yeah.
that. And it is hard because, you know, you want to balance your family and your life doing this work. And it's a lot because you feel want to do, you know, equal, you want it to be as powerful at home as you are doing the work. And it's a balance. But I feel like that you've definitely done that. Out of all, oh my gosh, there was so much I wanted to touch on with this because you said so much, but uh, to speak to all of these important things that you've kind of the steps that you got to this point. Um, but I really feel like it changed your life, right? How did it really change your life? Well, you kind of explained that a little bit. It really has become part of you. And how did it change the family, you know, around you? How did it change the people around you, your family and friends? Because I know that people don't really understand completely unless you're actually doing the work, you know, working on shadow work and doing all these things. Because this wasn't easy. I know this wasn't easy because none of us. And I do have to say that I've noticed that everybody that has followed this path, it's a process. It's not. It sounds so easy, like you know, you go from year to year. No, it's sometimes you're dragging yourself, you're kicking and screaming, and you know you have to look at you have to heal, you know, and not that you're completely healed now, but it's a path of healing. And so doing your shadow work, looking at all of this, taking the steps that you feel you're being led to, it's just so important. It's such a big part of
Yeah.
doing.
It is it is. And I always tell people like it's not rainbows and butterflies. And I have definitely, so I'm very open about who I am. I share my life on social media. I feel like people who are seeing that are very quick to judge and are very quick to not like come to me and be like, Allie, you know, I knew you from this many years ago and like I saw you then, like what happened? It's like I'm still Allie. Like just
Yeah,
come to me. Just ask me who I am, what's going on with my life instead of like, you know, the rumor mill behind the scenes kind of, which is going to happen. And I was actually just telling my husband this morning, I said, I completely understand that as we raise our vibration, as we do the shadow work, and like if people know who I am, people know me, they know that I was once on over 10 pharmaceutical medications. And I'm talking like heavy duty, like I was on autoimmune drugs. I was on hydrochloroquine, which was used in COVID it's an anti-malaria drug. I was on hydrochloroquine. I was on a ton of steroids. I was on muscle relaxers, narcotics, benzodiazepines. I was on gabapentin, Neurontin. I was on Lyrica. I was on muscle relaxers, antipsychotics, being told that I had like a mood disorder and this and that. So why does this happen to us, right? Like why because as children or as adolescents or throughout our life we all have traumas, whether little t's or big t's, right? And we all have this emotional buildup that comes up, and for some of us something triggers it. For me, I don't, it would be a whole nother episode to talk about, but if I look back and I hone in on the time of my life, I personally feel that vaccines triggered my autonomic neuropathy when I was pregnant. And so, you know, that led me down a whole path. And for some of us, our inner negative energy that builds up over time manifests as physical disease. So,
yeah,
you know, we can look
exactly.
back and we can say, like, did I do this to myself? Was it caused by, it doesn't matter. It doesn't, the fact is like, this is your journey and you need to heal it. And however that looks like for you, whether you do it privately or publicly, I just happen to do it publicly because I started out documenting, and I think in 2022, it's like every January I do something with my life. Like January 1st, 2021, I quit drinking. January 1st, 2022, I think I started blogging. 2023, I put out my podcast January 1st. Like this year has been a big year in me sharing a lot of my personal life on social media. Why? Because I want people to know, one, you're not alone.
Right.
Two, you can be unconventional. And I'm a triple Aquarius. I'm a sun, moon, rising, and Mercury first house Aquarius. So I was born to lead in unconventionality. Like I wish that I could, again, I wish I could just be the lowly little stay-at-home wife in a prairie dress, as I say, and just be content with cooking, cleaning, and like doing nothing. Like, and just being present and just soaking it all in. And but I'm doing that in different ways. I'm embodying my divine feminine and masculine in different ways. I'm honoring my soul and my soul's path in different ways. And I have no doubt that I trigger people. And I always say I'm here to ruffle feathers and trigger others. And sometimes it hurts me. Sometimes like I feel bad. Um sometimes I have to say, like, wait a second, like, is this really in alignment with who I am? And I think life is all trial and error. And I think that when we put ourselves out there to um, really just show others, not for like the whoa, look at me, like look at who I am and here's my story. And really, it's to show you that there is something called the Hertz frequency scale by David Hawkins, and it goes from 20 hertz, where you're living in total shame and you are just the lowest of the low, or you can be 800 plus and be an enlightened being. Now, when you get to 200 hertz, that's neutrality, right? So you're that non-dual. You're not hating yourself, but you're not fully in love with yourself. You're present, right? You're finally neutral. And then you continue to do that work. You continue to shed those onion layers, and then you get to 500 hertz, which is love. And that is when you just start sharing from the heart, whether that's blogging and podcasting, healing, or doing, just showing people the way. And I think that if other people just got out of their own way, deprogrammed their subconscious, rid of their traumas and dramas, and aligned aligned their chakras and really started to look within. If everyone just took 5 minutes a day to meditate and look within, I think that the world would be a lot less judgmental and a lot higher vibe, and that everybody, so easy work really is the answer. Like, it really is the answer to sit here and like say that for the latter 7 years I have basically dedicated my life to exploring my shadows and cutting cords, and just to be a better version of me is my soul's mission. Some people are not going to want to do that, and I have to just accept that.
Yeah, it's funny. I just that you said that, and I always say, because I've learned when I was doing my health coaching, I would get so frustrated, like, why can't they just do this? That would help them so much. And then I realized that's not really my job. My job is just to be present for them and support them along their journey. And now doing this work, it's the same kind of thing. And somebody just posted a whole thing about that, and it hits home, because you need to live your life, and then whatever anybody takes from that, if it resonates with them, if it feels right, then they will follow what you're kind of doing, or they're like, oh, you know what, I should do that too, or maybe I should look into Ayurveda. There's so many pieces to this puzzle of what we do and how we get to where we're going, and that's what I find so interesting and amazing. And each person is so different, but yet the same. So everybody that I speak to on this path is very similar. It always seems to have to do with kind of getting to that point where you're kind of pulling away those layers of an onion, like you said. And I always talk about that. It's so true. We accumulate those those skins, right, as we grow and we learn from other people. But we really want to pull those layers away to get to really who we are and how we started. Because we're here as pure souls, right? And then we accumulate these things. But and that's what I love about astrology, is it kind of gives you a basis of who you are, and then you kind of
Yes, yeah,
go for
yeah.
that.
And I grew up as a kid who, like, my throat chakra was definitely shut down at a very
Oh,
early
yes.
age. And when I learned about my natal chart, um, it blew my mind and it changed my
Yeah.
life. And I could cry like thinking about it because it finally gave me an answer. Whether you know you wholeheartedly, I wholeheartedly believe in it. I wholeheartedly believe
Oh,
just like
yeah.
we have unless you're an identical twin, we have each a unique fingerprint. We each have a unique genetic code. We also each have a unique blueprint, and it's literally written in the stars for us. And you can look at it every day, every phase of the moon. Like I do lunar ceremonies now, where every full moon and new moon, I guide others in a guided meditation, usually a sound bath of sorts. We pull cards. It's all virtual. And I always encourage you, like, look in your chart or see where this lands for you, or what do you have to work on in your life right now, whether it's letting go of or renewing. And there's always something to work on until you take your last breath. Like
Yeah,
I can sit here like,
exactly.
yes, I've healed a tremendous amount. However, I'm still always a work in progress. Like we're always going to be a work in progress.
Yeah, always learning and growing. And actually, it's interesting what you said about the twins with the charts, because we did have, when I was learning about astrology, there were twins, and it is different because, yeah, it's similar, but because you're born at different times, right? So that
Yeah,
does change
yeah,
it.
yeah.
And of course, what you've accumulated, but on the whole, your natal chart. Oh, sorry.
Is that your
Pigeon.
pet bird?
Yeah, yeah,
Oh,
yeah. My husband's pigeon.
I
She's
was like, you
Angela.
have a pigeon in your house. That is
Yeah,
incredible.
sorry.
That no, you know what's amazing is my son is obsessed with the pigeon books. I think it's like Ron Dahl, maybe I don't remember, but no, I'm sorry, Mo Willems, like the pigeon series books, and he looked just like him, the pigeon.
Oh yeah,
I love that.
my husband saved her when she fell out of her nest and it was just way too high for him to put her back, and she
Love
was only a
it.
week old,
Well,
so he raised her.
birds love the energy. They love the
Yeah,
energy. They
they
know that, and
do.
they speak the highest frequency, the language of the birds. Fun fact, St. Francis of Assisi was known to understand the language of the birds.
Oh, I didn't know that. I know that the animals loved him, but that is my husband. No. So uh so let's see, what was I saying? Oh, so the charts are amazing. And I do believe, like anything else, when you do a reading, or when, of course, it's a guide, but I do feel like that it's not something that, some people like won't make a move without it. And that's good to a point, but you also have to know that you have free will. And I always make sure I speak about that, especially with with readings, because we're kind of giving them, right, is what we see at that moment, the energy, but always have the free will. So I do believe, and it's a great tool. It's an ancient tool. People have been using that for thousands of years. And it's just
Mhm.
amazing. And it really is, when you kind of see your natal chart and you realize that, gosh, we did my chart also, it confirms that what I'm doing, because I feel the same way. I kind of have taken these steps where I don't even know why I'm doing it. I just know I'm supposed to, and just follow, right? Like, why am I
Yep.
doing this podcast? Why did I start a Facebook group? I don't know, but I was supposed to, and that's all I know. And that's
Yes,
exactly where
you're
you are.
bringing in your people. You're bringing in those soul connections that you were put here in this lifetime to come across and to help to raise their vibe. And there could be a million, infinite different ways that each of us are capable of showing others that way. And I think that's the beauty of it, is that it shouldn't be a competition. It shouldn't be a judgment. It shouldn't be, it's just finding what resonates with you and what works with you. And yeah, I agree. Like I know some people who everything is astrology and every moment of every single day is about astrology. While astrology for me is a wonderful resource, I try to also live in the present moment
Right.
and just take it all in and allow, just literally just flow, like
Yeah.
not looking at the predictions or the news stories or the horoscopes or the whatever it might be, the collective energy, even the collective energy updates. I love listening to them. I love learning about the collective energies. I love the Schumann resonance, like the heartbeat of Mother Earth. I love learning about all of that. Sometimes though, I just gotta be. I just have to just
Yeah,
let it
yeah,
flow and be grounded, connected, protected, present, and learn for myself,
yeah,
experience for myself. What are, if, because we all are psychic, right? And I'm doing the 5-day psychic challenge from June 2nd to 6th. And again,
oh,
like you
I
said,
love that.
like, how did I get here? Like, why am
Yeah,
I doing a 5-day psychic challenge? Okay, well,
no
ultimately,
idea.
yeah, I'm just doing it. And I'm ultimately doing it to show the lay person that, like, we all smell, taste, hear, see, and feel, right? Like, we
Yeah,
cannot deny that. Like, though, unless if we have an issue where we are not capable of utilizing that sense in the physical. However, you can tap into each of those senses and more, if you just shut off the mind, if you take that step back, if you shut off the mind, open the heart, and you're able to connect. And when you connect from the heart, you become that open channel, right?
yeah.
And
Oh, yeah, yeah,
we talk about this at readings, like, to give the best reading, you really have to just connect heart to heart, soul to soul.
right,
And you can then perceive energies. You can be anyone, and it's an art form. It's not like, oh, I'm going to have this random person on the corner sit down, okay, do a reading on this person, tell me what you
right,
get. But you can break it down sense by sense. You can get familiar with every how to hone in, how to sharpen the skill of hearing what might not be there, of seeing what might not be there, see with your third eye instead of the physical eye,
right,
uh, hear with the spirit ears instead of the physical ears, and feel the tingles, like, where are you feeling it in your body, like those kind of things. And I think that, I feel like that's what, like, you and I and other people in spirituality, we're just teaching people to really look inward, right? And
right.
we're not telling them what to do. We're not telling
No,
them how to live. Like, especially me, like, I am not telling people how to live. Like, I live a really crazy, weird ass lifestyle, like, that is non-conventional to 99% of, like, humanity on earth. And that is just who I am. But when I share about it, like, I'm putting that out there, right? And I'm showing people that, like, you can raise your vibe. And yes, you're going to maybe ruffle some feathers, but when you start to hone in on these different senses, you start to trust your intuition. You start to discern what is fear and what is soul-led intuition. And then you stop chasing the fear and you start just going with the flow. And then that's when I feel like a lot of the toxic goes away, a lot of the awakenings happen. Um, People start to recognize when they're praying from heart and not from desperation and the ego, that
right,
their prayers start to get answered. And it's like those little things. I'm not teaching you to do all these things so that you can go and be a fortune teller on the boardwalk,
right,
like, over the
right,
summer. I'm teaching you these things so that you can better your relationships, better your communication, better your flow with life, and just, like, that idea of surrendering,
right.
right? And
Exactly.
just trusting.
Exactly. And I love, like I said, each person's path is different, obviously, but, when you were taking those classes and exploring, and you kind of led to them is what feels right, right? And doing the automatic writing and doing all of that, it's important because it gives us different ways of, like you said, perceiving energy. And also, because obviously it was already there and you were, that's usually the same thing with me. It was there. It's just that I didn't recognize it. I kind of pushed it away too at one point because I was afraid of it. But when you realize that protected, and you get, you're getting this information from the light, your intention is always that intention. And start doing the things that feel right to you to build this whole uh, thing that feels right for you, which is, for you, obviously, it's letting go, well, all of us letting go of a lot of the fears, and a lot of trusting the universe, trusting whoever you connect with. Because I feel like trust is a big part of it, and starting to utilize and follow your guides, because they're pushing you to where you're supposed to be. And I always felt that they give you messages all the time. We get messages constantly through numbers, through
Yeah.
songs, through other people, and
Yep.
and I do feel like, you know, you just know you're on the right path when it feels good, and
Mhm.
that's where you're at, right? I mean, you're feeling good, you're flowing. Flow is a big word because you're in the flow. If you and I know, I'm not sure about you, but for myself, I know that there are points, and this is happening still now after many years, that I get to that stalled spot, spot, and I'm kind of like, what am I doing? Why am I doing? And then I question everything, and then I'm like, I don't know. It just starts flowing again, and then feels great. But just remember that those stalls are actually important, just as important as the flow, because that's where we learn the most, and it kind of gives us the direction of where we're supposed to go, and or kind of really sitting and understanding why we're doing this sometimes, or sometimes you just don't know until you're there.
Yeah,
But
yeah. And that's always okay. Like if you need to take a step back and reevaluate, like it's always okay. I will tell you, I will be totally honest, I am going through the thick of it right now. Like I am going through a time while I'm in flow. I'm very much in flow. I am feeling all the effects of externals right now, like all
yeah,
the
oh
the
yeah,
the heavy and the negative and the trying to almost like the things trying to get me to take back what I've been doing and to not be confident in who I am. And those moments I feel are like the biggest leaps, the biggest quantum leaps, maybe when you just continue to embody that highest version of you despite those low blows. And I feel like it's just something that roller coaster, like the 3D and the 5D, like even in one day. I always tell
yeah,
clients
oh
too,
yeah,
like there's a few different authors that I'm thinking of, and many of them talk about the roller coaster of just day-to-day living and how you can primarily be 5D, which 5D meaning fifth dimension, meaning like you only reside in that place of love and non-duality. Like, yes, we are living on this 3D plane, this earth plane, which is raising its vibe. Um,
yes,
and but we will experience tumultuosities that are going to drag us down, that ego-based fear, greed, lack, shame, guilt, right? Like all those things of
yeah,
others are going to bring us down. But it's about how do we remain resilient, that stoic resiliency, and how do we remain in embodied, like I feel like that's like the word of the day, embodied,
body,
right? Like
definitely,
how do we continue to embody and hold strong and hold tight, and that's really what it's all about. Like it can be anything from like finances to family to friendships to like personal inner battles to doing your own trauma healing. Like just remember that it's okay to dip low. I always
yeah,
say like you can't it's gonna happen no matter who you are.
oh yeah,
um
and no matter where you're at,
yeah, and but it's about honoring it and accepting it and loving it and releasing it, and from your control, what can you
yeah,
not control? If you can't control it, let it go, right? um and then just either forgiving and moving on, or whatever it is, but just know that even though you are in those low moments, just bounce back up, in like by simply again getting into the heart space, putting your hands on your heart, on your womb, and breathing, and just reminding yourself that like this is who you are, this is your home, this is your center, and you are here to fulfill a mission, and you're here to accomplish something, and fuck what everyone else thinks basically, and
right,
keep moving forward.
right. And that's the thing though, like you said, you have those moments, but I find that as we go along and we're in that flow, and then we have those moments, because it just, you're going to have them, and like you said, it can happen throughout the day. It doesn't have to be like a period of time and then you're fine. It can happen where one moment you're like, oh my gosh, I don't think I could do this. And then you find yourself like doing it and you're like, fine. And I just think that as we do this work, it
Yes.
becomes easier to snap back into the place that you need to be. You know, it's almost like,
Yeah.
okay, I have a moment and I know I'm going to be okay because I've been through this before and it's all good. And because you have, you know what it feels like to be in that flow space, doing things from your heart and sorry, and
Yeah.
and really just knowing that you're going to be okay because you've been through the worst, you've been through it all. I mean, I heard you say all the things that you were talking about with medical, you know, debt and all of that. And I love that you share that because people think just like Facebook is so perfect, right? Everybody's like, oh, it's so perfect. Everybody's got this great life. But each one of us has things. I don't care who you are. I don't care where you're at in life. I don't care if you're a big star on TV or you're whatever it is, the richest person in the world. Everybody has things.
Oh yeah.
And really the purpose of this life is to learn and grow and understand and get to that part of us that is pure and that feeling. I don't know. I just feel like I just take that deep breath.
That magic within, that
Yeah.
magic within,
It's like
right?
taking a deep cleansing breath and feeling the peace. Because peace, love and peace is really where this all leads to. And you know, obviously we know that we've been through these things because we have to experience them for in order to help others and ourselves, of course, but to help others. It's just so
Yeah.
amazing. And I love again, I always feel like people get to that point where they include nutrition in there, and it's really important because when we clean up our diet, and especially with liquor and all of that, because especially when you're doing this work, you really shouldn't be drinking. You shouldn't be right. I mean, doesn't
Well,
mean you
they
should
call it
never.
spirits for a reason. Why do they call it spirits? I remember when I found that out, it was like mind blown. When I stopped drinking, I learned so many things about alcohol that I couldn't unlearn. And one of them in particular is, why are they called spirits? Because when you are drinking, your inhibitions are lessened, your consciousness is probably astral traveling. And guess what? Those spirits can get in, those negative
The negative,
entities,
right?
those ones that if you're not grounded, connected, and protected will very well potentially latch on. And you know, if you're not careful, and I hate to like say that because that can like instill fear in people, but
Yeah,
that's
right.
the idea. Like there is energy going on behind the scenes. And nutrition, yeah, the very fact that you know, our serotonin is made in our gut, and
Yep.
we are what we eat. And when we heal our gut, I feel like most of my healing came once I finally healed my gut.
Yeah.
I
Oh,
stopped
yeah.
drinking, once I stopped
Definitely.
processed foods. And I mean, because I stopped drinking, I do still definitely have an issue with sugar, but I'm much better. I have a better handle on that. But like just being aware of what you are putting in your body, and not like
Right.
on a podcast episode that I recorded the other day, the woman and I were talking. She has healed her gut as well. You would love her. Like you and her, I should give you her info. She would be an excellent guest on your podcast. But it's like when you finally heal your gut, the rest comes too.
Oh, yeah.
You start to know
It's opening
the
up
physical
a
healing,
channel.
mental healing. Yeah, and
Yeah.
we were talking about how, like, you know, even the people who are so caught up in the news, right? So if you're super caught up in the news and you're all, oh my goodness, finally JFK Jr. is going to come through and take away all these artificial dyes, and like that's wonderful. Yay,
Yeah.
thank you for catching up, but like just don't buy the things. Don't buy them. Like avoid, read the labels, see what you're putting into your body. It's very hard to avoid these things. However,
Yeah.
it is possible. And if you are really serious about healing, it really does. A lot of it starts with the gut.
Yeah. And you know, the thing is that people, it's a lot of work. It is because
Mhm.
if you're not already doing this, I mean, obviously, you know, I did the I did the work, you did the work, but not everybody's at that point. It's so much easier to just eat like everybody else does, right? And it's hard
Yeah.
to be that person. I know, I don't know about you, but for me, it's been years of this. Like you're always the different person that you can't eat this and you can't eat that. And people are so negative about it. But I know what's good for my body and I know what feels right. And mindful eating is really important. And when we start eating way that we were meant to and kind of it's almost like you know, it opens up a channel It opens up your body to receive
Oh yeah, food is frequency,
things.
and when we eat the whole foods
Frequency,
provided
exactly.
that are provided to us by Gaia, like from the earth, they all have a frequency. And Pepsi has a frequency too. But guess what? It's not as high as like
No,
an apple or dark leafy greens. Like it's nowhere
right.
near that.
No,
So yeah, just reminding people. And yes, it's easy for me to say like, just don't buy it. Just don't like, but
yeah.
you know, I have also been known to like be in a pinch and been like, okay, like I'm gonna eat this. And
Well, when you have to, right. But
I
on
mean,
the
I'm
whole,
definitely now I pack snacks. I have not had to do that in like probably years. Like, cause I'm always the lady. Like everybody comes to me like, oh, do you have snacks? Cause I always have like pistachios and almonds and
yeah,
walnuts and like oats and just like everyone knows to come to me for like the weird snacks. My kids will tell you we're an ingredient household. I don't have processed crap here. So like
I love that.
if my husband brings home cookies, it's like, oh, you know, they're all in heaven. Or like if somebody, you know, we have a party and there's left, like I strive to live a high frequency life. And
Right,
even when it comes to food, like and household products and just becoming non-toxic, and all of these things open your channels. They all
right,
allow you to receive the goodness that God source universe has in store for you. It really is a matter of literally, and I'm just getting intuitively like waking up. It's just a
yeah,
matter of waking up to what is conducive to you and your lifestyle, and nobody can force that upon you. It's just something that
no,
is going to happen innately within.
right. You have to be ready for that. And we talk about the chakras, and what really are they? They're the lymph nodes. And when we know that obviously if the lymph nodes are clogged, you're going to have disease, or whatever you want to call
Yeah.
it. And so when you start opening that up, your body works better. And when your body works better, you can accept the frequency that you need. It just puts you on a different level, like we were talking about. And it's not just food though. Like you said, it's household products. It's what you're putting on your body, creams and lotions and makeup and perfumes. And you have to be careful with what you're putting in your environment around you and on you. It's the 5G. That's not great for us either, really. Technically, it's blocking a lot of the things that, when people have towers near them and near their house,
Yeah,
they're
yeah.
really not great.
There's a lot of towns near us that have you know, a lot of high voltage wiring and cell phone
Yeah,
towers, and we
yeah, it's
also we have a very highly dense breast cancer population on our
on
islands in
Long
our
Island.
county, like
Yep.
one of the highest in the country. Literally, the next town over from me has like the highest rate in the whole country. So yeah, there's definitely things. And what is cancer? Like if you energetically look at cancer, it's that buildup of those external toxins, whether
Right.
it's from
Food
past or
or
it's external factors. Yeah, and it's just something I feel you and I are on the same page and our passions and encouraging others, and just always planting that seed, right? Of they might not be listening, but maybe one day, like hope it's subconsciously in there somewhere, and hopefully one day they hear something or see something and they're like, oh, okay, this is the day my life changes, and that's it.
and it's one step at a time. It's not all at once. I mean, you
Oh
get to
yeah.
this point. I mean, you didn't change everything completely at the same time, but it as you gradually change things, you took away those pharmaceuticals, and you took away the drinking, and you took away, and you replace it with something better,
Oh
and
yeah,
you
it's been
feel
years.
different.
It's a year, it's a lifetime. It's a
Yeah,
right. Yeah, so I'd
yeah,
say
and
over
it
the
feels great.
years, yeah, over the last 4 years, I really I mean, it's possible. That's all I'm gonna
It is
say. Like it's
possible.
possible to very possible.
Yeah,
So
and I mean,
thank
of
you.
course, when you have a family. Oh, you're very welcome. And I was just going to say, like, of course, when you have a family, it is hard because not everybody's on the same page with that. But
Yeah.
you eat the way you can eat, and you see that around you, they'll start changing, and they'll want what you
Yeah.
want, and they'll try it, or at least try it, because that's a big
Yeah.
deal.
That's the
But
idea.
yeah,
At least a no thank you portion, as my mom always says. Like just try a no thank you portion, like whatever it is.
right. Right, take a bite and try. Like
Yeah.
always try
Yeah.
something because you never know what you're gonna love. I really love this, Allie. Thank you so much for coming on and speaking. I mean, you have so much. We could keep going and going. I love what you've done. I love where you're at. I love that you found your magic within and that you are sparking that magic within other people. Because yes, what what they see in you and what they feel is right for them, it's amazing how it can kind of that domino effect happens and then well in their life change because they see them changing things, so it's one step at a time.
Yeah.
And really that's what it's all about, and each have that magic and that spark, and the
Yes.
magic within.
Yes. Thank you, Angela. Beautifully said. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming on. I'm sure there'll be another time where you'll be on again, we'll talk more because there's so much.
Anytime.
And you have a wonderful day.
Thank you. You as well. Thank you,
Thank you
everyone, for listening.
everyone for listening. All right.